Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to today's video. So back with the recaps. Monday, first day of the month. It's always quite exciting when we start a new month, start off fresh. And we're doing better than last month. We didn't trade today. We didn't win or gain or lose any money, but we didn't lose money, and that's the main thing. This time last month, I was already down $130, which was absolutely crazy. And if you've seen the market, the March recap, you see I was pretty much down 130 before commissions as well. So disappointed with. I had two chances today to make some decent money. I saw them in real time, didn't pull the trigger. Disappointed about that, and after that I just knew I wasn't 100%. Still recovering from this flu, quite bad with it over the weekend, and just can't get rid of it. So I'm not 100% right. But anyway, let's talk about ADXS, and we'll pretty much just concentrate on that stock today. So just to talk quickly pre-market, we had stocks like Sorrel, SORL. You see here it gapped up, but nothing happened with it. I can't remember the other ones, to be honest. SLEB was one of them. You see here gapped up, but nothing was happening. But so literally, it was looking quite dead this morning. But ADXS did gap up, was making moves. So pretty confident everyone was watching this one. And you see here it made a gap up from what's going on here? The 680 area, and pre-market it got pretty much to a high of that 960. So a really good move, about $3 move almost there. So this is the one I was paying attention to. I had two plans for this. I was looking to long and short it. Mainly reason I was looking to short it is because it's made this really crazy move up to the 960 area. It was coming into previous resistance from a daily candle, which I'll talk about in a second, and but it doesn't mean I weren't going to long it for maybe like a push up and a wash out. So sort of playing both sides, and given the fact that there wasn't a lot on the scanners, everything was looking dead pre-market, I thought everyone's going to be paying attention to this, so opportunities on the upside and the downside as well. So I actually located shorts. You see here it was available to short. It wasn't available to short, but I located shorts, and now it's available. Otherwise this would say NS. But I didn't use them, sadly. So just to talk about my my thoughts and my trades that I didn't pull the trigger on, that's definitely one of the things I'm struggling with the most, is not pulling the trigger. But yeah, we'll talk about this quickly. So what I do, just this candle was today, so we ignore this one. So what I do quickly is just mark out some areas. We've got a little pivot point there, 810. Mark out the high of that candle, which is 1020. And then I keep an eye on some other ones, such as we've got maybe between these two, we've got a little pivot point there at sort of the $9 area, and the 8, it's actually a bit higher there, it's like the 960 area. But I don't pay too much attention, I just sort of keep them in the back of my mind. But these two I will keep, and I'm basically just going to see if these will come into play. That's all I'm looking to do. They may come into play, they may not. They provide some sort of support resistance areas. So if it pushes up to the 1020, where can we look to come down? It might come down to that 810 area and then hold support. So if we were shorting from the 1020, we could know that's a potential support area to sell. And vice versa, if we're long from the 810, we could look to see that 1020 as resistance now. So we're going to then the 1 minute. And as you see, that 810 provided sort of perfect support now. As you see, it pushed up to that window, and now it's providing that. It provided literally, you see, it's just bouncing off that each time, providing that support. The next thing I do, let's zoom in this a bit more. Oh, wrong one. There it is. Let's bring this down. Next thing I do is I mark out the pre-market high. So we see the pre-market high here is of 960. And then I see this is I mark out the pre-market high and actually mark out sort of a potential pre-market support area. Not much here. We see how this candle at 895 touched it here, opened there, and then it touched it here again. So a potential support area. Once again, we're just seeing if they're valid. So that 895 and 962, if you will see pretty much on the daily chart. Let me bring this up. You see how this 962 pretty much touched the top of that candle and the bottom of these candles, and that 895 touching these candles, bottom of their candles. So you see how they may provide some sort of support or resistance area. So it's just a good idea to keep them on watch, and it just gives you a better idea of where the stocks could move to. And you see they actually became somewhat valid because at the open, just before the open, it made this crazy move here, pulled back a bit. So I didn't really have a long bias or short bias at this point. I just wanted to see what the stock was going to do. And also, just to confirm, you can see that there was no trades taken here. Nothing on my thing. So I just like this charting software better. So at the open, no real plans to long or short it. We see here, market opens right here. We get a pop up, and then we get we sort of get this washed out from the 950 down to the it pretty much touched that VWAP was around 890 area, and it wasn't that bad. This was definitely a potential washout long, because we've got this sort of 895 area which we've already marked out. We could see this potentially being previous support. We've got the VWAP, which is really important. We've got the EMAs here, so we've got the sort of previous history. We've got VWAP, so not a bad. I did see it in real time. That wasn't the one I was fussed about. A lot of the candles at the open have been tanking. Sort of a lot of the actions has been tanking. So not fussed that I missed that one. That one okay with, because you never know. It could have just tanked down all the way down to like 810. You just don't know. They've been really bad recently last week. But good thing is we get this nice pop up. We get this crazy actually move from the, like this. What's this? This 904 to 994. So almost $2 move up. Squeezes up again. Squeezes up again. Squeezes up again. No real easy entries, because every entry is really overextended, and we're coming into that resistance from the previous day. As you said, see that 1020 area? See how that was that candle there? This candle here, the high is 1020. So we're coming actually into previous resistance. So if you're trying to long this and you're not sure about using the daily candles, you might, it worked out in this time, but another time you might not know you're longing into a resistance. We see it pull back, and actually pulls back down to it. So you want to see if now it becomes support. It doesn't. What happens? It washes out, and this is where I should have got in, because it made a crazy move from 1070 all the way down to, well, if I highlight here, 1070 down to 966. So over $1 drop, right down to where this pivot point 962. That's where I was disappointed, and I actually did go to buy it, but I didn't. See here, see how this is in grey right here? Yeah, I went to click it, I went to buy my hotkey, and because it was grey, it didn't execute, because you have to click the level 2. So I just missed that one, and then I wasn't going to chase it. Really disappointing, because it said it had a low of like 966, and this area here was like 1010. So almost a 50-cent pop. So we might have captured 10, 20, 30 cents, would have been a great move. And then, as I said, so that was the first one I missed. That was really disappointing. And then the second, now I missed out on the short, and I'm disappointed that I missed out on this, but once again, I am learning shorting. So what the stocks tend to be doing most of the time, not all the time, but looking at previous history, stocks tend to make big moves up and then they sell off. And that's just, apart from the odd stock that does crazy runs, that's sort of the general theme. But you've got to try and find out where this top is, and this was a good indication that the top was around. I know we got the top here of 1082, but that's very hard. That's very risky to get in there for a short. But what we get this big push up. We get this massive rejection. It's come back beneath 10. So that's a really good sign that it may start the back end of the move. What happens? It opens it at 1010. It tries to go up. Doesn't. It gets rejected off that almost that 1020 area, which is previous resistance, and it sells off again. It goes to test. So you see here, open at 9, like the 980 area, made a big move up to 1013, and what happens? It gets rejected. This was a perfect area right here to get short. Hindsight's always 2020, but I did see this in real time, and I just didn't pull the trigger, and that's the thing that really annoys me the most, is just not pulling the trigger. Whether I'm winning or losing, I need to pull the trigger more when I think there's a potential setup, and then either gain from it, learn from it, or whatever it may be, but I need to be pulling the trigger and being in these trades more to gain that real experience. But this was perfect. You said it broke back below that resistance level. It now became resistance again, and as you said, that's a previous daily candle, and then it just made a massive move from. We could have got in here around the $10 area, risking off the high day of, let's say, the 10.20, so risking 20 cents, and we could have sold at the 9.60 potentially. I'd like to hold it a bit longer, but we see here so that's a 2-to-1 profit loss ratio, which is nice. But we see here we've got the high of, I'll just click on the candle, the high of 9.86 and the low of 8.50. So $1.30 drop, absolutely insane. And if we ran any of that, we would have sold straight away and made a crazy killing. So that's it. I missed the opportunity from the long side, missed the opportunity from the short side. I was pretty much done after that. I'm just watching and just trying to get my head back into the market after the weekend. But that is it. I hope you learned something from today. I hope you can see how these lines can give you sort of good information of support and resistance. That's what it's all about, support and resistance areas, and that can give you a good idea of how to plan your trades. But you do have to pull the trigger as well. So that's it, guys. Be back at it tomorrow. Let's try and get rid of this cough and this flu, and I'll see you then. Take care. Bye-bye.